You have heard of the Titanic, no doubt. A grand ship that has gone down in history and in our memories for its tragic sinking over 100 years ago. But what about the other secrets behind the Titanic? If you're looking to find out more than just what met those final hours on the mighty vessel, we've got an interesting journey ahead for you. Buckle your seatbelts, we're about to dive into 10 lesser known facts and engaging tales from beyond the iconic wall of water that still sends shivers through us today. Join us as we uncover a timeline before, during, and after tragedy struck the Unsinkable ship so many years ago. It's sure to be an entertaining ride full of mystery, intrigue, and unexpected surprises. Before we get started, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell to be notified before we post more amazing videos like this in the future. Now, here we go. Number 10. The Titanic's Grand Staircase was left unfinished. The Titanic's Grand Staircase was originally intended to be a lavishly detailed and ornate feature of the ship. Unfortunately, due to the time constraints, the builders were not able to finish its construction according to the original plan. In its place, a simpler design was implemented as a makeshift solution, which has since become an iconic symbol of the Titanic after its appearance in the famous film. The wooden carving and details of the staircase were mostly left unfinished, though some rudimentary designs were presented on parts of it. It is now seen as an interesting reminder of what could have been had more time been allocated to its construction. Number 9. The Titanic Stern and Bow remained disconnected. The Titanic Stern and Bow remained separated in two distinct sections, with the stern located approximately 2,000 feet away from the bow. This separation occurred when the Titanic crashed into the icy waters of the North Atlantic. Both parts of the wreckage have been resting on the ocean floor since April of 1912, making them over a century old. The separation between these two sections is remarkable considering how large and heavy the ship was, indicative of just how powerful and destructive its impact was. To this day, visitors to the wreckage can still witness this unique phenomenon as they explore it from the submarines. Number 8. The Titanic took the help of a passing ship. The Titanic was in dire need of help after the infamous tragedy when it collided with an iceberg and began to sink. Fortunately, a small passenger liner named Carpathia responded to the Titanic's distress signal and quickly changed its course to help. The Carpathia traveled at lightning speed and arrived just in time to rescue over 700 people from the sinking Titanic. Through the combined efforts of the heroic crew on the Carpathia, these survivors were able to make it safely back to New York City. Number 7. The Titanic's radio operator sent distress signals to the wrong ship. The Titanic's radio operator sent out an SOS distress signal to the SS Californian, but unfortunately, their operators ignored the call for help. This delay in response may have cost additional lives and was one of the key contributing factors in the sinking of the Titanic. To make matters worse, it has been argued that the Californians responded to their call for assistance. Over 2/3 of those who lost their lives on board could have been saved. This mistake highlighted how inadequate and limited communication technologies were at the time, and how much more efficiently such a tragedy could be prevented with modern communication systems. Number 6. The Titanic's wreckage remained undiscovered for 70 years. Despite the Titanic sinking within a few hours of departure, it took more than 70 years to locate the ship's wreckage. Due to technological advancements, the Titanic was finally found in 1985 by marine explorer Robert Ballard. In addition, Ballard also discovered the wrecks of the Titanic's sister ship, HMS Britannic, during the same expedition. The wreckage site is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site and remains a popular tourist destination for deep-sea exploration. Number 5. The Titanic was considered unsinkable. The Titanic was marked as an unsinkable vessel due to its innovative design. It was built with 16 watertight compartments, each equipped with watertight doors to contain and prevent any flooding of the ship. Unfortunately, this turned out to be a false promise as the Titanic tragically sank in 1912. The number of these compartments enabled the ship to stay afloat for 2.5 hours after it collided with an iceberg, allowing enough time for passengers and crew members to evacuate the vessel. Thus, it is no wonder the Titanic was considered unsinkable at first glance. However, its eventual sinking serves as a reminder that nothing is infallible. Number 4. The Titanic's famous disaster emergency lights were fake. The Titanic was built without the iconic emergency lights that were associated with the disaster. Instead, they were painted onto the walls of the ship in an attempt to give passengers a sense of comfort and security in case of an emergency. However, these lights were merely a facade and not a real safety feature. This lack of emergency lighting made it much more difficult for passengers to find their way during the disaster, contributing to its fatal outcome. The fake emergency lights are now seen as symbolic of the inadequate safety precautions taken on board the Titanic prior to its fateful voyage. Number 3. The Titanic swimming pool was never filled. The Titanic had a swimming pool that was never filled. To the disappointment of many passengers on board, this was because the strong seas and dangerous waves could have caused damage on the deck if splashed out of the pool. Despite being one of the most luxurious ships in its time, safety protocols were put in place that prevented any water from filling up the ship's swimming pool. Instead, those on board looked for alternative ways to enjoy their aquatic activities, such as using lifeboats or fishing or rowing around in the open seas. The lack of a swimming pool proved to be a disappointment, but understandable given the danger it could have posed. Number 2. The Titanic's band played to the very end. The 8-member band aboard the Titanic showed remarkable heroism in the face of danger by playing music for passengers until their watery demise. It is said that they played a range of melodies, from hymns to ragtime, in an effort to keep the passengers' spirits up and help them remain brave. This act of selflessness was demonstrated even as the lifeboats filled up with people and their fate became more certain. The bravery and courage displayed by the group has come to be remembered as an inspiring example of what can be done when faced with extraordinary adversity. Number 1. The Titanic's sister ship never left the dock. The RMS Britannic was the Titanic's sister ship, and it was never able to take a single paying passenger due to its predecessor's tragic sinking. Built in Belfast, Ireland, before the Titanic, the Britannic had a tragic fate of its own when it sunk during World War I, while being used as a hospital ship. The Britannic was larger than the Titanic and was equipped with more lifeboats, but due to the disaster of its sister vessel, it never got the chance to sail out from the dock and take passengers aboard. Its sister ship was lost in 1912, but the memory of the fateful night still lives on today. The sinking of the Titanic remains an event that still intrigues people to this day. While the story of the disaster is well known, the secrets behind the ship add to its mystery and captivating nature. If you ever get the chance, visit the exhibits dedicated to the Titanic, as it's an experience that is both educational and awe-inspiring. And that's all we have for today. We hope you enjoyed this video. If so, be sure to hit that subscribe button and drop us a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.